Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your Tuesday night quiz with me, your host, Ali B. If anything, tonight, knowing it's the quiz, will remind you which day of the week we are. I hope everyone's doing okay. You've got through the week all right and you are ready for some quizzing fun this evening. About an hour ready for you this evening. So looking forward to that. As last week, all you're going to need is a pen and paper. So have a pen or a pencil ready, and we will be doing 6 rounds of 15 questions, as same as last week. For those that were here, for any new joiners, we will talk through the rules now. So you can play as a team, taking part as a group, as a family. You can take part as individuals and play against one another. You can challenge your neighbours across the street. You can challenge your colleagues. And hey, if you want to play on your own, that is totally fine as well. We will be having 6 rounds, and after the first 3, we will have a little bit of a break, just 5 minutes, so you can top up your glasses, you can top up your nibbles, and you can check your answers, ready for us to go through all of those answers for the first 3 rounds. We will then move on to the last 3 rounds, rounds 4, 5, and 6, go through our answers, and we will see how we have done this week. I have had some tweets and some messages about scores from last week. So far, the highest I have seen is 84. Okay, so let's see if anyone can beat that. We've got some quizzing bosses, quizzing buffs. Will we see anyone become a quizzing titan? For those of you that are new this week, you will learn more about what that means when we come to the end and we're totting up your scores. Okay, so let's have a look at our rounds this evening. We will be looking at round 1, food and drink. Round 2, history. Round 3 will be a slightly new audio round, which is guess the language. Round 4 is going to be potluck, which is just random trivia. Round 5 is going to be sport and games. And finally, we will finish with round 6, which is a picture round, and will be famous faces. So, as I say, 6 rounds of 15 questions, that is 90 points. However, the little twist, as you can see on the right there, you do have a joker, which you can play once during the quiz, and you can play at the beginning of any round to double your points. Depending on how you're playing, you will either declare it to your fellow quizmates in the room, declare it on the WhatsApp group you're using, declare it to yourself, hand on heart. You must declare it at the start of the round, and I'll give you a quick reminder to make sure that you do declare your joker. Bit of a tactical play there. It can make the difference between being a quizzing buff and a quizzing boss. So have a look at those rounds, maybe note down what the rounds are going to be so you can have a think about where you're going to play your joker this evening. However, without further ado, let's start with round one, which is going to be food and drink. I know lots of people are cooking and getting their recipe books out while they're at home, so I thought food and drink might be a fun round to start with this evening. So again, as a reminder, if anyone would like to play their joker for this round, being bold and brave and playing their joker right from the outset, then please make it known. Write a J next to round one, a little star, or draw your joker hat. And let's get started with question one. So, which pulse is the main ingredient in hummus? Which pulse is the main ingredient in hummus? Question number two. What type of cuisine are Rick Stein's restaurants famous for? Which type of cuisine are Rick Stein's restaurants famous for? We'll get back there at some point. Question number three. What type of foodstuff are rigatoni, fusilli, and farfalle? What type of foodstuff are rigatoni, fusilli, and farfalle? Question number four. What does the Scoville scale measure? What does the Scoville scale measure? Question number five. What is the main alcoholic ingredient in a margarita cocktail? What is the main alcoholic ingredient in a margarita cocktail? Question number six. How many herbs and spices are there in KFC's original secret recipe? How many herbs and spices are there in KFC's original secret recipe? Always worth a guess, that one, I reckon. Number seven. What is special about gazpacho soup? What is special about gazpacho soup? The key thing it's famous for. I imagine there are many special things about it, but the key thing that it's famous for. Question number eight. Which chocolate bar is described as a ripple of smooth cocoa filling sandwiched between two crispy wafers and wrapped in Cadbury milk chocolate? Which chocolate bar is described as a ripple of smooth cocoa filling sandwiched between two crispy wafers and wrapped in Cadbury milk chocolate? There's always going to be a bit of a Cadbury or Brummie reference, can't help it. Question number 9. Whose famous cookery book was entitled Cookery and Household Management? Whose famous cookery book was entitled Cookery and Household Management? Question number 10, and the last one on this first screen. Which country's most popular beer is Carlton Draft? Which country's most popular beer is Carlton Draft? We've got 5 more questions for round 1. So we're doing ultimate 15-question quizzing this evening. But I will just leave those up just for a moment so you can note down any questions you haven't been sure of, so you can make sure that you make a few guesses before the end of the round. Okay, moving on to question 11. Which thinly sliced fish would you find in the Scandinavian dish gravlax? Which thinly sliced fish would you find in the Scandinavian dish gravlax? Question number 12. In Indian cooking, what type of food is paneer? In Indian cooking, what type of food is paneer? Question number 13. In which Austrian city was the cake Sachertorte created? In which Austrian city was the cake Sachertorte created? Question number 14. Which commonly used condiment is also known as acetic acid? Which commonly used condiment is also known as acetic acid? And finally, already at the last question in round 1, question 15 will be, if you ordered a dessert a la mode in the US, how would it be served? If you ordered your dessert a la mode in the US, how would it be served? And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the end of your first round. I will give you just a few more moments just for those last 5 questions. Just capture anything that you want to continue thinking about over the first half, as we won't be returning to those questions once we move on to round 2. So a few more moments just to think. As I always say, even if you don't know the answer, it's always worth a red hot guess. You don't score anything for a blank space on your piece of paper. All right, and that is our first round complete. Well done. I hope any tactical plays of the Joker boldly played in that first round have paid off. If not, who would like to play their Joker for round 2, which is history? Going back in time now, back to history classes at school as well for some of you. Okay, so question number 1 for round 2. The eruption of which volcano covered Pompeii in ash in 79 AD? The eruption of which volcano covered Pompeii in ash in 79 AD? Going way back. Question number 2. Which tapestry depicts King Harold being killed by an arrow to the eye? Which tapestry depicts King Harold being killed by an arrow to the eye? Question 3. Whose assassination sparked World War I? Whose assassination sparked World War I? Question number 4. What year did Queen Victoria die? And you have a choice for this question. So is it A, 1895, B, 1901, or C, 1904? So what year did Queen Victoria die? Was that A, 1895, B, 1901, or C, 1904? Heard from the Queen this week. But what year did Queen Victoria die? Question number 5. Howard Carter discovered the tomb of which Egyptian pharaoh? Howard Carter discovered the tomb of which Egyptian pharaoh? Question number 6. According to legend, who wrote the song Green Sleeves? According to legend, who wrote the song Green Sleeves? Don't know if anyone's got the keyboards out. Now we're at home just for a little bit of a musical interlude. Green Sleeves, one of the easy ones to play, maybe. But who wrote it, according to legend? Question number 7. During which war did Florence Nightingale famously nurse soldiers? During which war did Florence Nightingale famously nurse soldiers? Lots of amazing nurses out there right now, but which war did Florence Nightingale nurse in? Question number 8. The ancient Olympic Games were held in honour of which god? The ancient Olympic Games were held in honour of which god? All right, moving on to question 9. Which social media platform was founded in 2004? Which social media platform was founded in 2004? Is that history? Very recent history, but quite a long time ago now. Longer ago than perhaps we would hope, 2004. 16 years, can't believe it. All right, question number 10. Which ancient monument can be found on Salisbury Plains? Which ancient monument can be found on Salisbury Plains? That is in the UK, of course. Which ancient monument? All right, so we've come to question 10, 5 more to go. I'll just leave that up as I do for a little moment so you can grab any questions that you need to note a clue to. And we will move to question 11. Who was the wife of Louis XVI of France? Who was the wife of Louis XVI of France? Question number 12. What was the name of the once top-secret home of World War II codebreakers situated in Milton Keynes? So what was the name of the once top-secret home of World War II codebreakers situated in Milton Keynes? Question number 13. Who famously said, "Will the people in the cheaper seats clap your hands and the rest of you if you just rattle your jewellery"? Who famously said, "Will the people in the cheaper seats clap your hands and the rest of you if you just rattle your jewellery"? Who said that? Question number 14. Who played George VI in the film The King's Speech? Who played George VI in the film The King's Speech? Massive film, Oscar-winning film, in fact. Who played George VI? And finally, end of round 2 already. Question 15. Who was the last wife of Henry VIII? Who was the last wife of Henry VIII? The only one to survive him. Who was the last wife of Henry VIII? Just a few moments, just for you to finalise your questions for round number 2. I wonder if anyone was brave enough to play their joker on the history round. Maybe you did better than you thought and you're regretting not playing. All right, So that is now round 2 complete. Okay, and we now move on to our audio round. So this week, guess the language. So what are you going to have to do today? Okay, you will hear 15 clips of different people speaking different languages. All these people are friends or colleagues of mine who are incredibly talented and multilingual, and they will be saying a sentence in their native tongue. Now, they are all saying exactly the same sentence, and that sentence in English is, "Can you guess which language I'm speaking? Can you guess which language I'm speaking?" And the only thing you have to do is to note down the language they are speaking. So just answer their question. Okay, so for those of you that studied language at school, which I'm sure is all of you, try and go back to those language days at school. Those of you that have travelled, think about some of the things that you've tried to say while you've been travelling around the world. And if you're not really a language buff, just think about films you've watched. Think about the sounds of language that you know. If any of you know how to say to speak in a language, listen out for that word. If any of you know the word language in a foreign language, listen out for that word. Okay, I will do this. I will play from 1 to 15 and I will play each language twice. We'll go all the way through to 15 and then I'll go back and play everything once more through so you can check your answers or have a guess if you haven't been sure. Okay, so let's get started with language number 1. One moment. Let me just get the languages set up here.
¿Qué idioma crees que estoy hablando?
Sorry, that was me being unprepared.
A ver, ¿qué idioma crees que estoy hablando?
One moment. Let me get started. And let me start again. So, question 1.
A ver, ¿qué idioma crees que estoy hablando?
That's your first time through. And second time through?
A ver, ¿qué idioma crees que estoy hablando?
Okay, so you heard that a number of times there to get the party started. So now you know what you're trying to do. So which language was that? Question number 2.
何語で話してるかわかりますか？何語で話してるかわかりますか？
Just give you a couple of moments to think about that one. Where in the world were we and what language were they speaking? Question number 3 and language number 3. What are they speaking?
Μπορείτε να μαντέψετε ποια γλώσσα μιλώ? Μπορείτε να μαντέψετε ποια γλώσσα μιλώ?
What language was that? Okay, question number 4. Which language is this?
Na, erratet mal, in welcher Sprache ich gerade spreche.
And once more.
Na, erratet mal, in welcher Sprache ich gerade spreche.
Okay. Any ideas what language they were speaking there? Moving on. Question number 5 and language number 5.
Pa iaith ydw i'n siarad, tybed? Pa iaith ydw i'n siarad, tybed?
What was that? What language was that? Question number 6 and our 6th language of the night.
你能猜出我在说哪种语言？
And once more.
你能猜出我在说哪种语言？
Where in the world were we there? Question number 7.
Czy możesz zgadnąć, w jakim mówię języku? Czy możesz zgadnąć, w jakim mówię języku?
Where were we there? What language was that person speaking? Question number 8.
Puoi indovinare che lingua parlo?
And again, listen again.
Puoi indovinare che lingua parlo?
Where did that person come from? What language were they speaking? Moving on to question number 9.
Kan jy raai wat se taal ek praat? Kan jy raai wat se taal ek praat?
Where was that? What language was that person speaking? Question number 10.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੁੱਛ ਸਕਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਬੋਲੀ 'ਚ ਬੋਲਦੀ ਆ?
And again.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੁੱਛ ਸਕਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਬੋਲੀ 'ਚ ਬੋਲਦੀ ਆ?
What language was that? What language was that person speaking? Question number 10. Question 11.
Pouvez-vous deviner quelle langue je parle? Pouvez-vous deviner quelle langue je parle?
What was that? What was that person speaking? Now here's question 12 and language number 12.
You can guess the language. You can guess the language.
What were they speaking? A bit different there. What were they speaking? Question 13. Language 13.
Poți să ghicești în ce limbă vorbesc?
Let's say that again.
Poți să ghicești în ce limbă vorbesc?
What was that? Question 14.
Você pode adivinhar qual língua eu falo? Você pode adivinhar qual língua eu falo?
What language was that? What language were they speaking? And finally, you've made it. You've made it to the final language. We're traveling around the world, even though we can't leave our homes. All right. What language is this person speaking?
Can you guess which language I'm speaking?
And once more.
Can you guess which language I'm speaking?
All right. Just something hopefully easy to finish on there. All right, now there's our round come to the end. I will run through them all from the top so you can hopefully check your answers. If not, you can have a good guess. I know that perhaps this was some of them were a little tougher than others. All right, let's go from the top. So I'll just count them out. I won't change the slides for this one. So number 1.
A ver, ¿qué idioma crees que estoy hablando?
That was number 1. Now, number 2.
何語で話してるかわかりますか?
Number 3.
Μπορείτε να μαντέψετε ποια γλώσσα μιλώ?
Number 4.
Na, erratet mal, in welcher Sprache ich gerade spreche.
Number 5.
Pa iaith ydw i'n siarad, tybed?
Number 6.
你能猜出我在说哪种语言？
Number 7.
Czy możesz zgadnąć, w jakim mówię języku?
Number 8.
Puoi indovinare che lingua parlo?
Number 9.
Kan jy raai watse taal ek praat?
Number 10.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੁੱਛ ਸਕਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਬੋਲੀ 'ਚ ਬੋਲਦੀ ਆ?
Number 11.
Pouvez-vous deviner quelle langue je parle?
Number 12.
You can guess the language.
Number 13.
Poți să ghicești în ce limbă vorbesc?
Number 14.
Você pode adivinhar qual língua eu falo?
And finally, number 15, language number 15.
Can you guess which language I'm speaking?
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of round 3. Something a bit different there, trying to identify languages around the world. Now, we will have a 5-minute break now just for you to top up your glasses, have a look at your questions from the first half, maybe have a little think about those languages and continue the discussion in the room. But look forward to seeing you in 5 minutes for your answers. All right, thanks everybody. See you soon. Okay, that's your 5-minute break up. Now we are ready for our answers. I hope you have replenished your glasses and you've had many a discussion about the languages in that round. Hope it wasn't too difficult. Okay, so now let's go through the answers fairly rapidly so we can get on to our final half of the quiz. Okay, so round one, we go back to, let me just find my answers. So, food and drink, chickpea is the main ingredient in hummus. Chickpea is the main ingredient in hummus. Question number 2. Rick Stein's restaurants are seafood restaurants. They are seafood restaurants. Question number 3. What type of foodstuff is rigatoni, fusilli and farfalle? That is, of course, pasta. Popular choice at the moment. Question number 4. The Scoville scale. That measures the heat of chilies. The heat of chilies. Question number 5. The main alcoholic ingredient in a margarita is tequila. Tequila, anyone who's been to Mexico. Number 6. How many herbs and spices are there in KFC's original recipe? 11. 11. How many guessed 11? Top secret recipe there. Number 7. What's special about gazpacho soup? It is served cold. It is served cold, unlike most other soups. Question 8. The chocolate bar that was described as a ripple of smooth cocoa filling, sandwiched between 2 crispy wafers and wrapped in Cadbury milk chocolate, that is a time out, something I hope we are all deservedly taking at the moment. Number 9. Whose famous cookery book was entitled Cookery and Household Management? Mrs. Beeton. Mrs. Beeton's cookbook. Question number 10. Which country's most popular beer is Carlton Draft? That's Australia. That is Australia. Not that I drank much of that while I was out there. Don't really like beer. Don't like beer. Number 11. The thinly sliced fish that you would find in the Scandi dish gravlax is salmon. That's salmon. Number 12. In Indian cooking, what type of food is paneer? It is cheese. Cottage cheese perhaps, but it is cheese. Question number 13. In which Austrian city was the cake Sachertorte created? That's Vienna. That is in Vienna. It's in a hotel in Vienna. Question number 14. Which commonly used condiment is known as acetic acid? Vinegar. That is vinegar. Question 15. If you ordered your dessert a la mode in the US, it would be served with ice cream. It would be served with ice cream. Alrighty, okay, how did you do? Did the Joker pay off? Question number 1 in round 2, moving to history. So the eruption of which volcano covered Pompeii? That was Vesuvius. Vesuvius. Question 2, which tapestry depicts Harold being killed with an arrow to the eye? The Bayeux Tapestry in Normandy, the Bayeux Tapestry. Whose assassination sparked World War I? Franz Ferdinand. Franz Ferdinand. 4, you had a choice here. Which year did Queen Victoria die? That was B, 1901. 1901. Howard Carter discovered Tutankhamun's tomb. Any spelling allowed there, as long as you pretty much got that across. Tutankhamun. Question 6. According to legend, although apparently they're not sure if this is true, who wrote Greensleeves? Henry VIII. Henry VIII. Question 7. During which war did Florence Nightingale nurse? It was the Crimean War. The Crimean War. Question 8. The Olympic Games, the ancient Olympic Games, were held in honor of Zeus. They were held in honor of Zeus. Number 9. Recent history. Which social media platform was founded in 2004? That was Facebook. Was Facebook. 16 years old now, Facebook. Been around forever. 10. The ancient monument on Salisbury Plains is Stonehenge. That is Stonehenge. Number 11. The wife of Louis XVI? Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette. The name of the once top secret home of the code breakers in World War II is Bletchley Park. Bletchley Park, well worth a visit. Very, very interesting place. Number 13. Yes, who famously said, will the people in the cheaper seats clap your hands and the rest of you if you just rattle your jewellery? I had to purposefully say it without a Scouse accent. That was John Lennon of Beatles fame. Number 14. Who played George VI in the King's Speech? Colin Firth. Colin Firth. And finally, the last wife of Henry VIII. It was a Catherine. Did you get the right one? Catherine Parr. Catherine Parr. Now, these languages, how did you all do? Did your language classes help? Any travel you've done? Lend any answers here? I want to say thank you if there's anyone online who contributed a clip. It was only one per person. And anyone that's grumbling that, of course, they would know it. To be honest, if you can speak more than one language, I reckon you get a gimme point. So there we go. Question number 1 was Spanish. Spanish. Number 2 was Japanese. That was Japanese. Number 3, that was Greek. That was Greek. Number 4, German. Number 5, Welsh. Don't know if the accent gave it away there. Number 6, Mandarin. Mandarin. Number 7, Polish. Number 7 was Polish. For number 6, strictly speaking, Mandarin. If you put Chinese, you can have a half a point. Half a point. Because Chinese isn't strictly speaking language, but half a point for that because it's a tough round. Number 8 was Italian. Italian. All those Italian restaurants you visit. Did you guess that one? Number 9 was Afrikaans. Again, did the South African accent there give it away? Afrikaans. Number 10 was Punjabi. That was Punjabi, Indian language. Number 11, that was French. Now, I'm sure a lot of you must have got that. That was French. Number 12, that was Jamaican patois. Jamaican patois. Again, if you put a Caribbean language, West Indian patois, you can have a point for that as well. Number 13, that was Romanian. Number 13 was Romanian. Number 14 was Portuguese. Number 14 was Portuguese. And now, number 15, what was that? That was English. It was Australian English, but if you did put English, you can have a point for that. Okay, how did you do in that round? Tuffy? Some of you perhaps stormed it. I don't know. I hope the guesses worked out all right for some of you. But let's move on now to round 4. So this is Potluck. This is random trivia. This is basically all the things that go around my mind, random facts at all times. If anyone would like to play their joker, please do declare and we will get cracking with the second half of the quiz. Alrighty, number 1. How many years does a golden wedding anniversary celebrate? How many years does a golden wedding anniversary celebrate? Question number 2. Which punctuation mark is made up of a full stop and a comma? Which punctuation mark is made up of a full stop and a comma? Question number 3. In which book series would you find the titles The Silver Chair and The Horse and His Boy? In which book series would you find the titles The Silver Chair and The Horse and His Boy? Question 4. To what are Aussies referring when they talk about lollies? So when we heard some Australian English there. So what are Aussies referring to when they talk about lollies? What would we say in the UK? All right, number 5. How many legs does a scorpion have? How many legs does a scorpion have? Worth a guess, I reckon, if you're not sure. Number 6. Which comedian has "I told you I was ill" on his gravestone in Irish Gaelic? Which comedian has "I told you I was ill" on his gravestone in Irish Gaelic? Oh, a bit of a language theme here, but apparently the story goes it's only in Irish Gaelic because they told him he couldn't have it in English. I told you I was ill. Question number 7. Which car has a rearing horse on its badge? Which car has a rearing horse on its badge? Question number 8. Which makeup brand has the slogan "Get the London look"? Which makeup brand has the slogan "Get the London look"? That was my vague attempt at a London accent there. All right, question number 9. What is the smallest prime number? What is the smallest prime number? We really are going round the houses in Potluck tonight. Question number 10. When chatting on the internet, what does OMW mean? When chatting on the internet, what does OMW mean? All right, so there's your first 10. I'll just give you a few moments to capture any answers or note any questions that you haven't quite got the answer for yet. Okie doke, and moving on to question 11. What is the capital of the state of New York? So which city is the capital of the state of New York? All right, question 12. Which designer's shoes have a distinctive red sole? So which designer's shoes have distinctive red soles? Question number 12. No, question number 13. Gargamel is the sworn enemy of which group of fictional characters? Gargamel is the sworn enemy of which group of fictional characters? And your hint here is that it is a children's TV program and set of stories. Gargamel. Question number 14. If an adult male cat is a tom, what is an adult female cat? If an adult male cat is a tom, what is an adult female cat? And finally, in our potluck round, which I hope has had a little bit of something for everyone in that round, question 15. In UK WAG Twitter drama, who did Colleen Rooney accuse of leaking her secrets in 2019? In UK WAG Twitter drama, who did Colleen Rooney accuse of leaking her secrets in 2019? Big drama. All right, so we've come to the end of round 4, our potluck round. Just give you a few moments Make sure you have a guess. Any answer's better than no answer. Capture all of your answers there for round 4. I hope that you're feeling confident if you played your joker, because we're now going to move into something that I know is a big fave for a number of people. We will be moving into round 5, which is going to be our sport and games round. Okay, so sports fans out there, have you been saving your joker for this? Who would like to play their joker for sport and games? All right, please declare, as we will be getting cracking now. So question 1. Which tennis Grand Slam is played on clay? Which tennis Grand Slam is played on clay? Question number 2. Who scored the Hand of God goal against England in the 1986 World Cup? Who scored the Hand of God goal against England in the 1986 World Cup? Question number 3. Which athletic field event did Greg Rutherford compete in? Which athletic field event did Greg Rutherford compete in? Thinking back to those London Olympics, can you remember what he competed in? All right, question number 4. How many balls are there on the table at the beginning of a frame of snooker? How many balls are there on the table at the beginning of a frame of snooker? I'll give you a little bit of time for this one, because I imagine you want to do some totting up. Think carefully. All right, number 5. What do Rafael Nadal, Phil Mickelson, and Jimmy White all have in common? What do Rafael Nadal, Phil Mickelson, and Jimmy White all have in common? So 3 very different sports that they play there, but what do they all have in common? Something in particular. Okay, question number 6. Which board game is described as the game of global domination? Which board game is described as the game of global domination? Perhaps some of you have been playing it over the past couple of weeks. Question number 7. Which team plays football at Craven Cottage? Which team plays football at Craven Cottage? Question number 8. Which game was Garry Kasparov a world champion in? Which game was Garry Kasparov a world champion in? Number 9. The name of which martial art means empty hand in Japanese? Sorry, another language reference here tonight, but the game of which martial art means empty hand in Japanese? And number 10 in sport and games will be, what sport do the teams Isis and Goldie compete in? What sport do the teams Isis and Goldie compete in? All right, so they are the first 10 for round number 5, sport and games. Let's move to question 11. The Rugby Championship is competed by Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and which other nation? The Rugby Championship is competed by Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and which other nation? A recent addition. Who is the fourth there? Question 12. How wide is the beam in women's gymnastics? And you have a choice. So is it A, 10 centimetres? Is it B, 12 centimetres? Or is it C, 15 centimetres? So the beam in women's gymnastics, is it A, 10 centimetres, B, 12 centimetres, or C, 15 centimetres? Whatever the answer is, it's pretty narrow, but which of those three? Okay, question number 13. In which card game might you hear the expression, one for his knobs? In which card game might you hear the expression, one for his knobs? And you're making your own jokes up here. Again, another game you might be playing while you're at home. It's a good one. Number 14. How many players on a water polo team are in the pool during a match? So on one team, not on both teams. In one team, how many players are in the pool during a match? And finally, question number 15, already at the end of round 5 here. In the UK version of Monopoly, how much do you earn for passing go? In the UK version of Monopoly, how much do you earn for passing go? And that is the end of round 5. Just a few more moments to capture all your final answers. No sport to watch at the moment, so just a reminder of all the sports we've been missing there. But okay, so that is your round complete. All right, so now we move to our final round of the night, which, as last week, is our picture round, but this week it is going to be famous faces. So very simple, just name the person in the picture. Where appropriate, first and last name, please, for the full point. Okay, so as last time, I'll give you about 3 minutes for the first 8 that will appear on the first screen, and then we will move to the final 7. I'll give you about another 3 minutes. I'll give you sort of a 30-second warning when I'm about to move the slide on, so you know when that's coming. I've been getting a bit of negative feedback about my elevator music, so maybe this week I'll just let you talk amongst yourselves and do this in blissful silence. All right, so here are your first 8 pictures. Of course, for those of you that hadn't played your Joker up to this point, and this is your last chance, so by default, you will be playing your Joker on this final round. Maybe not by default, maybe an absolute tactical choice. Okay, so just another 30 seconds here before we move on to our final 7 questions for the night. Okay, so here they come, numbers 9 to 15. Okay, another 30 seconds or so. A quick look back over the past 3 rounds, make sure you've got no gaps in there. Okay, so I think we will bring that round and the quiz to a close. I hope everyone's got all of those. I hope that none of them stumped you too much. And there's our round complete, and there is our quiz complete as well. So, as I said last week, what are your quizzing bragging rights going to be this evening? Think back to what your scores were last week. Now we will go through the answers for the final 3 rounds, which professional quizzing hosts would almost forget to do that. So, but let's have a look. This is what you are aiming for to level up on the quizzing bragging rights. Will we get a quizzing titan? I think I've been getting a bit of feedback that the language round was pretty tough, but you are excellent quizzes, so I have to challenge you. 84 as a high score last week. That is enormous. So let's have a look at our answers for rounds 4, 5, and 6. Oh, I'm showing them all. Okay, round 4. Let's have a look at question 1. So this was Potluck, and how many years is celebrated by a golden wedding anniversary? That is 50 years. That is 50 years. Okay, question number 2. It is a semicolon that is made up of a comma and a full stop. It is a semicolon that is made up of a comma and a full stop. The book series that had The Horse and His Boy and The Silver Chair was, of course, The Chronicles of Narnia, which is also where the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe book comes from. Question number 4. What are Aussies referring to when they talk about lollies? They're talking about sweets or sweeties. of any variety, not just a sweetie on a stick, a lollipop, any sweeties. So they have the lolly jar, not the sweetie jar. That threw me a little bit when I lived out in Australia when I first got there. Okay, number 5, how many legs does a scorpion have? It has 8 legs. 8 legs. It is an arachnid, a little bit like a spider. Okay, which comedian has I Told You I Was Ill written on his gravestone? That's Spike Milligan. Spike Milligan. Number 7. A Ferrari has the rearing horse on its badge. A Ferrari has a rearing horse on its badge. Who helps you to get the London look? That is the makeup brand Rimmel. That is Rimmel. Number 9. The smallest prime number. The smallest prime number is number 2. A prime number is one that has 2 factors, itself and 1, therefore 1 cannot, by definition, be a prime number because it only has 1 factor, itself. Okay, number 10. OMW is on my way. On my way. We used to say BRB, which is be right back, but now we just live on the internet, so we never have to say that. On my way. Okay, number 11, the capital of the state of New York is not New York City. It is Albany. It is Albany. All right, number 12, the designer whose shoes have those distinctive red soles is Christian Louboutin. Louboutins. Number 13, Gargamel is the sworn enemy of the Smurfs. Well done if you knew that one. Tuffy there. Okay, number 14, if an adult male cat is a Tom, then a female is a queen. And anyone that has a cat will know that they live up to that title. Question 15 to finish. Potluck. In a UK WAG Twitter drama, Colleen Rooney accused Rebecca Vardy of spilling her secrets. Okay, that was round 4. Now round 5, we are moving to sporting games, a fave of many, I know. So number 1, tennis Grand Slam that's played on clay is the French Open. That is the French Open. Number 2, who scored the Hand of God goal against England in the 1986 World Cup? That was, of course, Maradona. Maradona playing against Argentina. England were there. Greg Rutherford takes part in the long jump. He is a long jumper. How many balls on the table at the start of a game of snooker? 22. So that is 15 reds, 6 colours, and don't forget the white. That is 22 on the table. Rafael Nadal, Phil Mickelson, and Jimmy White, they're all left-handed. They're all left-handed, so all playing very different sports there, but they're all left-handed. Number 6, which board game is described as the game of global domination? That is Risk. Risk takes a long time. Good one to play at the moment with some time on your hands. Which team plays football at Craven Cottage? That's Fulham. Fulham. And Gary Kasparov, number 8, is a world champion in chess. He was a chess champion. The name of which martial art means empty hand in Japanese? Karate. Karate. Number 10, the Rugby Championship. That's contested by Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and your 4th is... I'm sorry, I missed a question there. So number 11, what sport do teams Isis and Goldie take part in? That is rowing. They are the second boats in the Oxford and Cambridge boat race. They are the second boats. So number 11 that I just read out, so which is the 4th country with Oz, New Zealand and South Africa? That is Argentina. Number 11 is Argentina. Number 12, how wide is the beam in women's gymnastics? You had 3 to choose from, but the answer was A, only 10 centimetres. Only 10 centimetres. How they do all the flipping about that they do on that, I do not know. Number 13, in which card game might you hear the expression one for his knobs? That is cribbage or crib for short, depending on how formal you are being. Number 14, how many players on a water polo team are in the pool when playing? 7. Apparently there are 13 in the squad, but only 7 in the pool. And number 15, in the UK, how much money do you earn for passing go? You earn £200. You earn £200. And finally, round 6. So this is our pictures round and famous faces. So number 1 was Ringo Starr. Number 2 was Philip Schofield, who is getting the nation through in the mornings at the moment. Number 3, John Major. Number 4, Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf. Number 5, Snow White. Number 6, Colin Jackson, 110-meter hurdler. Number 7, Kelly Rowland of Destiny's Child fame. Number 8, Kim Kardashian. No points for one of the Kardashians. You had to specify Kim for a point. Number 9, Tom Cruise. Number 10, Goldie Hawn. Number 11, Scrooge McDuck, who appeared in Mickey's Christmas Carol and then DuckTales. Number 12, Steven Spielberg, famous director. Number 13, Chris Tarrant, a fellow quiz show host. Number 14, Liza Minnelli. Liza Minnelli. And your final answer on round 6 for pictures this week was Claudia Winkleman, presenter of Strictly Come Dancing. So they are all of your answers for this evening. Well done. Great quizzing, everyone. Some tough questions there. Hopefully some easy questions there as well. Let's tot up your scores and see again, what are your quizzing bragging rights this week? Has anyone made it up to that number 90 and reached the dizzying heights of the quizzing titan level? Would love to hear from you. However you've done, whether you've gone up, down, or you've maintained your level, please do let me know. Let me know on Instagram at Ali_Bon. Let me know on Twitter at Ali_Bon. Also, if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, because then it will send you reminders so you don't forget. I would love to run this again next week if people are keen. Look forward to seeing you then if that happens. I will be running it unless people say otherwise. Stay safe and healthy. Have a lovely evening and share the quizzing love with all. Thanks, everybody. Good evening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.